Otherworld Science Stories was an American science fiction magazine edited by Raymond A.Palmer with Bea Mahaffey. It was published by Palmer's Clark Publishing in Evanston, Illinois beginning in the late 1940s. Sold for 35 cents, the digest-size publication was bi-monthly until September 1950, 6-weekly until October 1952, and then monthly. The first issue, dated November 1949, was credited to editor Robert N. Webster, one of Palmer's pseudonyms, since Palmer was, at the time, still employed by Ziff Davis as the editor of Amazing Stories and Fantastic Adventures. Otherworlds debuted with The Fall of Lemuria by Richard S. Shaver, Where No Foot Walks by G. H. Irwin, and Venus Troubleshooter by John Wiley. Writers. It continued as a bi-monthly, running stories by Forrest J. Ackerman, Paul Anderson, Hal Anners, Ray Bradbury, Eondo Binder, Jerome Bixby, Robert Bloch, Anthony Boucher, Marion Zimmer Bradley, Frederick Brown, Lester Del Rey, David H. Keller, Daniel Keyes, Fritz Lieber, Roger Phillips, Mac Reynolds, Eric Frank Russell, E. E. Smith, Theodore Sturgeon, William F. Temple, A. E. Van Vogt, Jack Vance, H. G. Wells, Robert Moore Williams, Donald A. Woolheim, and others. In 1952-53, Otherworlds serialized L. Sprague de Camp's non-fiction Lost Continents. Covers were by Paul Blaisdell, Hannes Bock, Virgil Finlay, Robert Gibson Jones, Harold Macaulay, James B. Settles, Malcolm H. Smith, and J. Allen Street. John Stewart J. Byrne produced a new Tarzan novel, Tarzan on Mars, but it remained unpublished because Palmer was unable to get authorization from the estate of Edgar Rice Burroughs. This led Palmer on an unsuccessful campaign for Byrne to be named as Burroughs' successor, notably with Palmer's Tarzan Never Dies article in the November 1955 issue. When two of Byrne's Otherworld stories were reprinted as an e-book in 2005, he wrote the following in the introduction. This novella, Metamorphs, once came close to being on the motion picture screen. In my Hollywood days of following the yellow brick road of showbiz, I had scripted it under the spectacular title, Monster in My Blood. The former producer of This Island Earth bought it for $8,000. However, his principal finance for the film depended on Boris Karloff acting the part of the chief metamorph. Regrettably, friend Karloff died in the middle of casting. I also speculated a script for another producer who wanted to do a horror monster adventure pick staged in the tropics of South America. This of course resurrected The Naked Goddess script titled The Bridge of Time. But alas, he, too, failed to raise his capital. But the memories engendered by these works embrace a far broader spectrum. The fact that both of these stories were cover-featured in Otherworlds magazine opens the true otherworld of the Roaring '50s when science fiction and fantasy reigned supreme. It also opens a special link to the editor of Otherworlds, Ray Palmer, who not only published many more of my stories but constituted a story in himself. There is also an untold link between The Naked Goddess and circumstances leading to my first meeting Ray in Chicago of 1947. The Naked Goddess has its background in South America, where I lived 5 years during World War II while working for Pan American Grace Airlines, but that background was originally used in the story Prometheus 2, which became my first cover story, then published in Amazing Stories, whose editor then was, you guessed it, Ray Palmer. Recovering from an accident in 1953, Palmer suspended Otherworlds with the 31st issue. He took over the magazine Universe Science Fiction. At the same time, Palmer began a short-lived companion titled Science Stories. Universe ran for 10 issues until March 1955, when Palmer changed the title to Otherworlds while continuing the numeration of Universe. It ran for another 12 issues as Otherworlds, with Palmer introducing more material about UFOs. From May 1955 until May 1957, the publishing firm was given as Palmer Publications in Evanston, Illinois. Sources below. In June 1957, Ray Palmer changed the title to Flying Saucers from Otherworlds. This apparent continuation of Otherworlds prompted confusion, deliberately created by Palmer, so sales outlets would not have to be persuaded to take a new magazine. In truth, the magazines overlapped for 2 issues with ambiguous titles. However, it did continue to carry science fiction stories until September 1957, at which point it totally focused on UFO articles. Otherworlds was dropped from the title after issue 29. Palmer continued to publish UFO material in different formats until his death in 1977. Between 1988 and 1996, 6 issues appeared of a different magazine, also titled Otherworlds, edited by Gary Lovesey for Griffin Publications. The editorial criteria were for short, hard SF shockers, with impact up to 3,000 words.